Here's how to find perimeter and area with just coordinates. So here's the example that we'll be doing in this video. We have 3 points here. We have 3 coordinates. And we have to figure out the perimeter and area of the shape that these make. So before we can even find the perimeter and area of a shape, we don't know what the shape is going to look like yet. So we need to plot these 3 points to figure out our shape. So first let's plot point A on our graph. Remember that a point always has 2 numbers. The first one is x, and then the second one is y. So first let's plot x. X is left and right, and negative numbers are to the left, and positive numbers are to the right. So when x is -2, that means we need to go 2 squares to the left. And then we need to plot y. Now y is up and down, and positive numbers are up and negative numbers are down. So when y is +3, that means we need to go up 3 squares. So we've gone 2 to the left and we've gone 3 up, which means that our point A is going to be right here. And we're just going to write the letter A next to it. Next, let's plot point B. And this is going to be the same thing. We have x first, then y. So x is -2. That means we need to go 2 squares to the left. And then y is -1, which means we need to go down this time. Because last time we went up because it was a positive number. But this time we need to go down because it's -1. So we've gone -2 for x and -1 for y, and now we can put our point right here, and we'll label it B. And finally, we have C, which is 1 for x and -1 for y. So 1 for x, that's +1, which means that we need to go 1 square to the right. And then -1 for y means that we need to go, well, down instead of up because it's a negative number. So we need to go 1 square down. And we'll put our point right here, and we'll call it C. So we've now plotted our 3 points, and so we're going to go ahead and connect all of these points up with lines. And there we go. These are all pretty terrible lines, but it's fine. So remember that our task was to figure out perimeter and area. So first let's figure out the perimeter. Perimeter is just the length of all of the sides, and when you add them all together, you get the perimeter. So for 2 of these sides, that'll be pretty easy. For this side here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. It's 4 squares long. So that means that the length of this side is 4. This side here is 3 squares long because you can see 1, 2, 3, which means that we're going to go ahead and put a 3 here. But this diagonal side here is a little bit more complicated because we can't just count boxes for this one because it's like diagonal. So to do this, we're going to use the distance formula. Now, if you're not too familiar with the distance formula, I do have a full video on it if you want to watch that. But basically, we're going to plug in the x and y of each of these points and figure out the distance from A to C. So let's just go ahead and start replacing the letters that we know, right? So x2, that's going to be the x of the second point. And it doesn't matter, I'll just say that A is the first point and C is the second point. So if C is the second point, the x of the second point is 1. So we're going to replace x2 with 1. And then that's going to be minus x1. That's the x of the first point, and we said that A would be our first point, so the x of it is -2. That's going to be squared, like it says in the formula, then plus y2. Y2 is the y of the second point, so here's our second point, and the y is -1. And then that's going to be minus y1, which is the y of the first point, which is 3. And then that's going to be squared as well. So let's just go ahead and simplify this down even more. So here we have 1 minus minus 2. Well, 2 minuses make a positive, so this is just 1 plus 2, which is 3. And there's a squared here, so it's 3 squared. And then that's going to be plus -1 minus 3. So think of it as dollars. You lost $1 and then lost $3, so you're down $4. And then that's also going to be squared. So let's keep simplifying. 3 squared, that's the same thing as multiplying by itself. So 3 times 3 is 9. And then that's going to be plus -4 squared. So 4 squared is 16 because 4 times 4 is 16, but we're also multiplying 2 negatives, and 2 negatives make a positive. So it's going to be positive 16. Squaring a number always makes it positive again. And if we keep simplifying here, 9 plus 16 is 25. And now we have the square root of 25. A square root is just whatever number you have to multiply twice to get the number inside. So in this case, to get 25, we have to multiply 5 times 5. So the square root of 25 is 5. And by using this formula, we've now figured out that the length of this diagonal side is 5 boxes. So back to the perimeter, remember that the perimeter is just the length of all of the sides combined. And now that we know the length of every side, we can just add them together. So this side is 4 boxes long, this one is 3 boxes long, and this one that we just found out using the formula is 5 boxes long. And if you add together 4 plus 3 plus 5, 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 5 is 12. which means that our perimeter is equal to 12. So now that we figured out the perimeter, let's figure out the area. This is going to be a little bit easier because we don't have to use the distance formula for this one. To find the area, you just need to use the formula for area for whatever shape you're doing. So for example, for a rectangle or a square, it's length times width. For a triangle, the area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. So just like the distance formula, we're going to replace the letters with what we know. So A is for area, and we can't replace area because we don't know what that is yet. That's what we're trying to find out. 1/2 is just a number, so that stays the same. B is for base, and the base is, in this case, is 3. The base is basically just the bottom of the triangle. And then the height in this case is 4, because the triangle is 4 squares tall. That's the one that goes up and down. Now let's just go ahead and simplify and multiply what we have here. And remember that this is multiplication because there's no sign in between each letter. So that just means multiplication. So that we don't have to deal with fractions yet, I'm going to leave the 1/2 and I'm going to multiply 3 times 4 first, because it doesn't matter what order we multiply in. So 3 times 4 is 12. And now we just need to multiply 1/2 times 12. Well, multiplying by one of these fractions is the same thing as division. So this is the same thing as 12 divided by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6, which means that the area of our triangle is 6, using the area of a triangle formula. So these are our final answers. The perimeter of the triangle is 12, and the area of the triangle is 6. So now you know how to plot coordinates on a graph and use those to find the perimeter and area of a shape. But possibly the trickiest part of that was the distance formula, and being able to use big formulas like that is kind of an important skill to have for geometry and any other type of math. So if you want more practice with formulas, I have a video on another formula called the midpoint formula, which is pretty similar. So if you want to watch that, you can watch this video right here. And as always, if you have any questions about this video, go ahead and leave it in the comments and I'll be sure to answer your question. Thanks for watching.